We're good to get started here at 6:03. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Jordan Green. I am the Chief Experience Officer with Ballogy. You are obviously tuned into the virtual player development clinic by Ballogy and the NHSBCA. I want to introduce you to our CEO, Todd Young. Todd, if you want to share anything, and then we'll get right into going.
Yep, sounds great. I was just going to take 3 minutes here. It's my grandson's first birthday today, so you're in good hands with Jordan. I'll go ahead and say a couple things about Jordan real quick. We at Ballogy could not be any more thrilled to have him as a father, as a basketball player that played at an elite level, way higher than me. There's a statue of Jordan outside of Texas A&M. Won a ring with the Austin Spurs, and just he's getting offers left and right from college and NBA teams, and he's here to be able to take his knowledge, his coaching skills, his processes, and help you guys and help us all give kids and coaches a better way. I blew a chance to play college ball. So when people ask what was the catalyst to what we've built here at Ballogy, it goes all the way back to me being 16 years old. My parents were divorced. I knew what I needed to do in school. I was a pretty bad kid. I did a lot of stuff wrong. But when I had a test or a quiz or homework, there is no way that I was going to have a zero on the accountability factor. I knew what college I wanted to go to. So I made my grades, made my SAT, and I got to go to TCU. There was a clear path. There was a curriculum. There was mentorship and guidance from teachers. Even though you're only in the school building a little bit of the time, that development happens when you leave. And that's where you learn so many great good habits. As Jordan says, stacking good habits on top of good habits. So I blew a chance to play college ball. I didn't have that measurability. I didn't have that accountability, with the coaches. Didn't know what an NAIA college was, didn't really know about junior colleges and, all that kind of stuff. So when my son was born, I wanted to really work with him and help him have a better path. And we just started to work on skills, and we wrote down information that helped him get better. I'm proud to say that this process, even though very manual, because we hadn't automated it at the time, he's playing at Colorado State. They went to March Madness last year and almost beat Michigan. And he set the vertical record in program history with a 46-inch vertical, and he's a 4-point student. And so one of the things that we did along that journey is I would go talk to his coaches at school, middle school, high school, the AAU coaches, the Spurs academies, the Rockets academies, the point guard colleges, his trainers. And I would always ask those coaches, what can we do when we go home? Please give us some homework, because he wants to get better. And that's where coaches 100% unanimously said, I really don't have a tool to give him and measure that homework. And look at all these kids on the court. Can't really tell you how he did today. And so hearing coaches say, man, I would kill to have something like the pros have. All we do is hear about pros having tools and apps and development resources to help these pro players, but yet in the amateur sports world, there was nothing. So that's what Ballogy did. Don Staley is an investor and a champion. Desmond Bain playing for the Memphis Grizzlies. Duncan Robinson over at the Heat. We've got Foot Locker board members. Incredible Gary Harris Jr. over at the Orlando Magic, $80 million contract guy, is a multiple time investor with us. And we have people that want to help coaches, and we built this for coaches to get better. And that's our journey. And we're proud to say that we have an exclusive with all the NAIA colleges, all the junior colleges, and then Dane Fife, who was assistant coach and top recruiter at Indiana and Michigan State, is introducing us to, we have 1,600 colleges on right now that received the top performers report of our athletes. But I would say in closing, we knew that we had to get into the high schools and the middle schools. We knew that we wanted to arm you guys with a better way to help the kids get measured and help your team get better. So we got introduced, actually Dane Fife introduced us up to Dan Young in Michigan. And Dan Young, president of the National Basketball Coaches Association, had me fly up and said, Todd, we've got a lot of partnerships but we don't have anything in this space, and we've been looking for a lot of years. And so he had us fly around the country and meet with some of his thought leaders, Bruce Slatton at Tennessee, Tim Gaby in Washington, Rick Shirley in Texas, Matt King in Arizona. I could go on, but we went to 6 for 6 states, and all 6 signed up for Ballogy and said this was the missing piece. So the best part of today's meeting is going to be the ending, which is the pricing. I know a lot of people don't like to talk about pricing, but we sat with 70 coaches in Michigan, and we said to them, if we have a tool that you've been missing, if we have a tool that helps you be a better coach, helps your player be a better player, helps your team get better, what pricing can you afford? That would be easy. And they came back and said, if you could make it $700 a year, that would be pretty easy for us to take out of our fund to help players develop. We could do a booster raise. And if you could also give us the option to pay monthly, well, then that's about the cost of how much we spend at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A with our kids. So even better than that today, we have special pricing for this group on the call. And I'm going to hand it over to Jordan, let him take you through what we have. I think the other coolest thing about this call, we think you're going to love what you have. It's my grandson's first birthday today, so I'm going to drop, but I want everybody to write my mobile phone number down. It's 512-415-1734. Like I said, you're in amazing hands with Matt and Jordan today. But if you need anything at all that I can answer, please give a call. We're super excited to work with you guys. And thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on a Sunday. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Todd. And Todd has been amazing at casting vision from a personal standpoint of taking his son from the amateur sports world all the way up to a Division I college. So that's our idea, is to build a journey for your players to follow, and you can help them achieve their dreams or achieve the best that they can be. I think that's the most important piece. Before we get started into the contents of our clinic, I want to quickly introduce you guys to Matt Saman. He's a coach at Grapevine Faith School in Grapevine, Texas. And I will get more into his background and his resume in just a bit. So let's jump right into the flow of our content. Obviously, this is the Ballogy app here on screen. And then Ballogy is a simple and easy to use player assessment and development mobile app. We are available on Android and on Apple. We do not have a desktop version, but we do have an iPad version that I know is applicable, or tablet, even Android tablet at schools. We've partnered, just like Todd said, we partnered with the NHSBCA to empower coaches and players to make player development both clear and measurable. We want to take out the guesswork and give the opportunity for a coach to clearly define what they're expecting from their players when they're not in the gym with them. So how does it all work? The Ballogy app, the players download their own and have their own profile on their phones, and the coaches actually download and have their own profile on their phones. Coaches assign drills, tasks, and tests to student athletes, and then the student athletes record and submit their submissions. The contents of what you can assign are broken down into 3 different things. Which every team, if you want to divvy it up into, for your varsity level, for your JV level, either all the way down to middle school, you get a group. So every school or program gets signed up as a group, and we have group training. That's essentially what it is inside the Ballogy app. And you have 3 different mechanisms that you can assign. You have first the custom tasks, and that's create your own drill. That can be anything all the way up from a motivational video that you find on YouTube to something that is particular to your program. I know Coach Saman has something that he's been doing for a long time with his program that he can share about in just a bit. But there is the custom feature for you to be able to assign to your athletes. And then there's a Ballogy training task. And that's where we started with 2 of our strategic partners, the NHSBCA and Shoot Away, the gun. So our drills in the platform that are pertaining to shooting all have within the 12K gun capability to connect and have the gun actually lead your players through that specific drill. With the NHSBCA, we've actually created over 150 drills and counting as almost like a virtual textbook for basketball drills to assign to your players all year round. And then we framed it just like school, the students, and what we've learned just over the past few years of just developing this and churning it is, and you guys can probably all agree, that kids these days are very task oriented. If you tell them to get into the gym, it's a very rare few that knows what to do and how hard to go when you open your doors and you're not there, or when they leave school, when they leave practice and you give them something to do, there is no accountability. And so what we've tried to create is something for you to be able to tangibly measure and track your players' progress all year round. And we do that from the homework aspect, and those are the tasks, whether they be custom or Ballogy training, and then into the testing. So the testing is a lot more intrinsic with skills assessment. We have one of our main skills assessments here called the Ballogy skills assessment. This is a 40-shot test that your players can take, finishes at the basket, off the bounce, all around the three-point line, and then beyond the three-point line to take all game-like shots. So there is creativity in here, but it's really what we've actually partnered with the NAIA, the National Junior College, and the NHSBCA to create. What if there's a streamlined shooting test that actually every high school or amateur athlete can actually measure their shooting ability in practice when no one's guarding them, with game-like movements and all across the court in just different looks. So we've created a Ballogy skills assessment, and we have a plethora of tests as well in our platform that I'll show you guys in just a second that you can assign to your players. So let me dive into the app and actually show you guys a real look at what we're looking at. There we go. All right, so this is the Ballogy app on mobile. I have it on my iPhone here. Here at the top, we have our Get Started video. Our Get Started video essentially just breaks down almost like as a home base to, if you do have questions on our platform, you can always watch that video, 30 to 60-second overview on where to navigate, how to navigate. And for all of the coaches, they have a certain video. And then for players, they have a different video on how to proceed within the app. So like I said, there's groups listed here below. Each school or each organization will have their own group. So if we hop right into the Ballogy demo group, this is what it looks like to start. You'll have players join into this group all from one access code. So you'll give them their own access code as a team, and they'll put it in, and then they'll actually join. Everything that you do within your group is private. So if someone does not have the access code, they cannot get in. Your staff has group owner capabilities, which basically means that you can create tests. So we assign full staff, whether it be coach all the way through assistant coaches, have the ability to create group training tasks. So this big orange button right here, create group training tasks, is a screen that I showed just a second ago. Essentially, this is how easy it would be to assign a task. All right, so this is our custom task here. You enter a title, you can paste a YouTube or Vimeo link, or upload a video that you already have, whether that be from Huddle or any type of platform that you've downloaded a video from. You write the description, which essentially just means the goal. How hard do you want them to go? What do you want them to achieve? You have a time limit that goes with it too. We have a timer that has up to 10 minutes on there. And then you have the scoring feature as well. So right now we have only manual scoring for custom training tasks and Ballogy training tasks, because coaches can actually have the freedom to give different goals and different scoring parameters around that. Most coaches that use our platform year round actually choose this completion-based task. So essentially it's just like in school, you just complete it and you'll get credit for completion. So the reps are how many times do you want them to complete which drill in a number of times within the week. So if I want to schedule this particular custom task from this Sunday to next Sunday, I want them to do it, let's just say 5 times. I can customize it just like that. So when the players do receive it, they know to perform that drill 5 times within that week. So if I go back into our Ballogy training tasks, this is where it gets fun, and this is where we have our compatibility drills with shoot away, and particularly the 12K gun that's in it. So we're all familiar with the Mikan drill. I'll go ahead and choose that. We have all of our drills broken down into beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Those are just, basic parameters, but the skill set of your player, so you can choose accordingly. So we all are familiar with the Mikan drill. As I said, each Ballogy training task was approved and video recorded by the NHSBCA. So you've got a video that correlates with the drills. And so within the description, you can actually say make 10, or you can already have just a goal in mind that you can add on, but they're already pre-described. Then you go into your time limit. If you want them to just complete this in, let's just say, a minute, I'll scroll down and choose a minute. And then I will have a completion-based task is what I want them to do. And then I'll have them complete it 3 times, let's just say, in a week. Once I hit save changes like that, every group member, so all your student athletes, will actually be receiving that a new homework assignment has just been announced, and for them to complete it. What that looks like on the players' end is they actually click that button there, and it opens up the group training task page. And how our platform works, just like I said, that you assign the test. That second step is that the players record and submit. So the player basically selects that record, this orange button right here, record your submission. And it just pulls up actually a video that's connected to, just like in your camera roll, connected just to your phone. And so the players actually record themselves going through, and then they see that they've completed it. They get the completion credit for it. And you actually see that they've completed it, because you'll get an alert once a student athlete completes their drill. So that's how simple it is to divvy up and send out these tasks all year round. And then if we want to look at the tests, it's just as simple. So if we choose this third option here, Ballogy test, we've talked about the BSA. We can go ahead and select that. All of them is pre-described with instructional videos. This test instructions button here gives you the full breakdown of what you should be doing on all 40 shots. So the players can actually review that. And then if you want to put a goal in there, must make 70, must make 40. The scoring for the BSA is 1 through 100. Free throws and layups are 1 dribble pull-up. So everything mid-range, it was worth 2 points. And then the threes are worth 3 points. So it's a really fun and creative scoring. And then the same way with the reps and scheduling, it's the same from the custom and the training task. So if you assign a BSA, it's the same way. So what a BSA looks like, that's a little bit different than the training task, a lot more skill-based with the detail and just with the breakdown. And so you get a full breakdown of where you shot, made and missed. You get to share your score on social media if that's something that you want to do. And then you can actually tap to watch any of the video that you want to see. So if I want to look at a missed shot that I had, the video actually jump to a miss. And then if you want to go on and select and look at the ones that you've made, you can do that as well. So it's very team oriented too, with likes and comments that actually go with that. So the players can actually encourage one another and you as well. So I want to take a look at something that is already out with this Ballogy training group. And so it'll take a second to pull up. There are, this is what it looks like just from a filled out purpose. So if we look at one of our student athletes in Ballogy training actually completed their elbow to elbow shooting, there's a video that goes with it. So each of your players can actually view their, their teammates looking at these drills. But for you as a coach, you actually can provide private feedback to your players. So for me, looking at another athlete, I can't view their private feedback. That's only between you and the coach. So that's essentially what it looks like. There's, like we said, in the group training task page, you get a video that correlates with it, and then you can actually see who has completed these drills over time. So essentially that is our homepage. We do have a page dedicated solely to the BSA, the Ballogy Skills Assessment. We have leaderboards that correlate with that. Just like Todd said, we have Desmond Bain, some other pro athletes in our platform that have taken that. You can view that overall leaderboard. Within their groups as well, you have a group leaderboard. So if you do have your student athletes taking the BSA, they'll actually compete against one another within the team, and then they can actually see and view themselves on our global leaderboard as well. Then you can actually see that each of your players has a profile. They'll see the groups that they've joined, and they'll see all of the tests that they've taken over time. So that's just a quick overview on the Ballogy platform. And then I actually want to go through the player development side of it all. So one moment. All right. So this is one of the weekly examples that we have for just the best results that we've seen from programs using it. Is a 4x4 method. So just assigning a ball handling drill, a shooting drill, a finishing drill, and a footwork drill. We call it a 4x4 method. So at least assigning one from each category and have them completing it at least 4 times a week. That should take roughly 20 minutes or less for your players to be able to do that. And they can do it from their park. They can do it from outside of the practice, gym. If you want to have just ball handling, if you want your point guard to complete and get better at their ball handling, you can have them do it in a garage. It doesn't have to be necessarily in a gym. So with the connectivity side, you actually do not have to be connected to Wi-Fi for this. We've installed the save to drafts feature, which essentially just means if they're not connected to a strong connection or a Wi-Fi, once they complete their recording, once they do get connected to Wi-Fi, the app will actually prompt them to open it up and load it once they're connected to that strong Wi-Fi. So I just wanted to give an example of what that could look like from a built out perspective. And then I want to hop into our awesome Q&A session to wrap up this meeting. All right, so I'm going to embarrass Matt just in a second here, but I wanted to put his resume on here and tell you guys a little bit about who you're going to be hearing from. So like I said, Coach Matt Saman, head coach at Grapevine Faith School in Grapevine, Texas, has his players made over 3,600 threes in over 10 seasons. They've had 10 players with 1,000+ career points. He's a 2-time TAPS Coach of the Year, and he's also author, speaker, and podcast host. He's written The Leftovers and currently is the podcast host for the Jamodi podcast. Welcome, Coach Matt. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome. Thank you for sitting through our presentation, and I can't wait to break down just what you think about Ballogy. So my first question for you is, what was your first impression with the Ballogy app concept?
Well, you and I saw each other at a coach's clinic, and when you kind of mentioned this to me, it was just a light bulb moment of that's exactly, I think, what I've been looking for as a way to integrate basketball skill and development with what the kids actually love the most, which is their phone. And if you could bring those two things together, but just add a little bit of accountability to, we can text our players great workobouts, but if they don't really know what those drills are, they can't remember. And I'm not saying, obviously, none of our players will ever lie or fib to us, but there's an accountability with this, with the fact that they have to record it and it shows up. And I just saw so much potential with it, and just love what you guys are doing.
Awesome. So my second question is, I know I've actually personally been in the gym multiple times with the BSA with your team. What was their first impression after taking it? How did they respond, and what did you think seeing them go through it?
Well, I think first thing for coaches is we're jealous of our time. And so we don't want to do anything that is really a waste of time, meaning it's not going to actually help our players get better. And even the 4-minute BSA, it's a good workout. Like I was sitting there watching you take them through, and I thought, okay, this is something like, forget the camera, forget the scoring of it. This is something I have my players do anyway. It's a good use of time. So the 4-minute part of it, especially, There's a little bit of a conditioning component to it that I like, but just the amount of shots from different spots. And then the biggest part to me is the competitive nature of it. They get to compete against each other. They get to compete against themselves and compete against other shooters. Because I think that's what, as a player, what you always want to know is, what are other dudes doing around the country? And am I better than them? And I think this really accomplishes that. But I really asked my players after we kind of went through it, what'd you think? Is this something you want to do again? And there wasn't one player that said no. And if there was any hesitancy, it's because maybe they struggled with it and it highlighted some deficiencies. But again, I think that's what we want.
That's great. That's great. That's a great answer. And I saw it firsthand. I think just the looking over your shoulder, if they have to rebound for somebody they just went, there's that competitive nature about the BSA and doing it as a team. So how did you personally, as a coach, just incorporate it in the season? I know I came in the middle of, a couple of seasons, but how did you incorporate it when you guys were taking the BSA?
I think that's a big point, is that, right? Like, I love what you showed right there. And it actually it made me feel a little bit bad that I don't think I've been utilizing the full power of some of the things on the app in the off season, because the more, again, accountability, 98% of players only walk in the gym, don't have a plan. And if we can guide them through some things and it's on their phone and we can really celebrate them for doing it, I think that's huge. So thank you for that. But in season, again, I think player development can't end when the season begins. I think it's important that we continue, and if anything, we have to be smart with what we do in that time. To me, for our program, it just kind of became a Saturday. We always practice on Saturdays, but Saturday is typically more of a weights, film, individual skill work. Very little bone on bone practice time. And so to me, this was a perfect use of, it's fun. It's something they can look forward to. It's another way that we can use it to celebrate them on social media. And you guys do a great job with that. And because we had one of the guys as the leader of the month or week or something like that. Like, that was a huge thing for us as a small private school. And so, it was something we definitely enjoyed. And once you showed it, you figure out the cameras. And once they go through it once, and coaches, this, like, they're so much better at this stuff with their phone than we are. Once they do it one time, they've got it, and it's easy from there.
Yep. So true. So true. And, just speaking to the success that your players have had, of course, you've had throughout your years coaching, but particularly at Grapevine Faith, what have you done specifically to, in general, just promote accountability and freedom within the off season or even during the season to develop such consistent shooters year after year? I mean, 3,600 threes, that's a lot of threes. So I know you play that way in game, but guys don't just show up and shoot well. They're working. So how do you promote accountability, and what are some of the things that you guys do to compete and also just to develop your shooting abilities?
There's some rabbit holes that we could go down there, but we don't. That's not for this talk. But as far as the amount of threes made and a lot of attempts, but no, I think first of all, players that trust in coaching and trust in the system and a belief system of playing. So it's all because of them. I would say that one of the biggest things that to build accountability is we chart things. We chart shooting games. We don't necessarily focus on stats post game as much as we'll focus on attempts, but it's the daily routine of any shooting games that we're playing, statting or charting it and writing it down. There's something about when you could tell a player, hey, I really think your shot's improving, and that's okay. Like, that's good to do. We can maybe sometimes see that with their feet, see that with their preparation, see that with their speed or how they're reacting to misses and makes. Like, we want them to react the same. But I think a bigger thing is actually being able to show them improvement. And to me, this is another tool, a way of doing that. Like, you do enough BSAs, you do enough of these games and things, and they get to actually see a month ago I was here and now I'm scoring at this point. And I think what do we want? We want to foster a competitive nature in our players. And one way to do that is to chart themselves and let them compare against themselves in the past, compare against the other players. And then a big thing too, and Jordan, if I'm rambling, just, snap or, but a big thing too is role identification. You want shot selection and role identification to be something that you don't really have to talk about very much because they know it. And the way they know it is by, if I always shoot around, let's just say, I get a 35 on the BSA, but that guy is at a 70 every time. Well, in a game, if I'm kind of open, but he's really open, I know where the ball needs to go, and we're going to celebrate it for it. So again, I think when you chart things, you write it down, you have it up in the gym. Players have to say their scores out loud. And this can be another way of doing that, is it's on this platform. People are getting celebrated. I just think that fosters the type of accountability, open dialogue with shot selection and role identification that we want.
100%, 100%. And, I think it's beautiful the way you guys break down player development and have competition, have games, just to have the confidence to take those threes. And yeah, sure, attempts, but also a lot of makes too. So thank you so much just for answering those few questions. You're welcome to hang out if we have any questions later. But just wanted to thank everyone for attending. I wanted to just go through how you can get signed up, and then we're going to be following up with just a survey and different things like that. So thank you, Coach, so much. And if you guys have any questions for Coach Matt, please put them in the Q&A or in the chat. All right. Went back a slide. There we go. So this is our team pricing currently. We have our tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. How we break that down is with the number of seats. So 0 to 40, which typically covers just a mid to high level varsity through freshman for one side, the boys side or either the girls side. For tier 2, put those two together, and then you guys can actually pay together, would be that price point there. And then tier 3 is for the bigger schools or maybe programs. You do get tripods with your purchase. We just want to give you guys a look at what that is. But for this call and joining, we're actually putting together a special offering that goes with this. Is a 30% off season 30 is the code to use on our site, which gives a 30% discount. And just like Todd said, we'll actually be able to pay monthly. So I think our 0 to 40 monthly is usually around $70. And so now you're looking at around $40 for your monthly rate for that 0 to 40. And yes, if you do want to pay together, you can do that. If you want to pay by PO, you can do that as well. But we have an online portal that goes with that. Just for time and urgency, this is only available for a week. We're closing this off at April 23, 2023. So I just wanted to open just the chat box up for questions. If you had any about the platform, I would love to answer those. So we'll wait just for those to trickle in, and then we'll wrap up and go back to watching some good NBA playoff basketball. So are there any questions, or if you can raise your hand too? Awesome. Give it just a few seconds. Any questions? All right. So we got a question from Coach Reich here. Can you purchase additional tripods? Yes, you can purchase additional tripods from us, or we will actually send you our manufacturer link so you can get some at the rate that we pay. So we can definitely talk about that. For Coach Cade here, does the video count made baskets? So the BSA does, all the Ballogy tests do, but the Ballogy training task and a custom task does not. So those are more for your completion, building habits of just recording and doing the work, so that they do not grade the make and miss. And Coach Joel's here. Is this presentation available for download? I would love to show this to my AD. I will be following up this call with this presentation live on YouTube, so you guys can be able to present this to your AD. So I will follow up with that. So great question. All right, any more? If not, thank you guys so much for joining in. I really appreciate it. Would love for you to share if there are other decision makers that have to make those decisions for purchase. We'd love to share this video and share even this presentation and this deck with you. Any questions for Coach Saman in the chat at all? Give it one more second. I've got a few just fun questions for you, Coach Saman. What do you know off the top of your head? What is the number one, like what is the top game for made threes during your time at Grapevine Faith?
Yeah, we've made 25 twice.
25. That's a lot of threes. Sheesh. Thank you, Coach K. Appreciate you joining in. Thank you. 25. Who's the, do you know the, you definitely know, but who's the all-time three-point made guy and how many did he made? Do you know?
Yeah, Dalton Standish made 435 in 4 years, and it's 5th or 6th all time in Texas history. He made 168 in 1 year. That was fun. It was easy to coach guys like that.
He's pulling. I love it. Those are the two questions I had. I love just hearing about your program, but we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you, Coach Saman. Really blessed always by your presence. And then we will follow up with an email from this and also a survey when you guys do exit out of this webinar. So thank you guys so much, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon. All right, take it easy.